Holy crap. Holy crap. Episode 17 of Dungeon Meshi, Delicious in Dungeon was an incredible episode. So much that even though I'm not covering the series, I had to get on here and talk about it. Because my gosh, oof, that was just an absolutely incredible little segment there. Just really hitting on all cylinders with Trigger. I mean, the animation was incredible. The setup of each of the shots was incredible. Just the emotions incredible. The voicing's incredible. I watched it 2 times, in English and in Japanese. That's how much I love that whole segment. The music, the vocals. The vocals always hit. I always tell people, vocals takes everything to a whole nother level. And just having those little vocals kicking in when Laios is like conflicted about what he's going to do with his sister in front of him, the fact that she's a monster now, can't be saved, all this stuff is just running through his head. Oh, it was just a good little segment there. But my gosh, yeah, just the very beginning. I watched it in English first, and I think it made it more of a gut punch for me, because as Maizuru, I think it was Maizuru was up there, as she was being brought down by Fallen, it literally has her yelling to leave, and then right when she hits the floor, it cuts off. It's pretty much like her life gets snuffed out mid-sentence. And I felt like that gut punched me more than the Japanese version. They're both incredible, but I was like, holy crap. I had to keep reminding myself, oh yeah, that's right, everybody can be revived. It's always been kind of one of those conflicting things about this series, is that while I love the fact that there is like this system within the dungeon where it's very much like an RPG or JRPG where, yeah, you could just resurrect your friends. Okay, your party member falls. Resurrect. It's a cool little system they have, because it's also explained the idea that the magic itself like links people to their bodies. And so it all makes sense to the mechanics of the world itself, and so it's clever. But at the same time, there's another side of me that kind of goes, oh, well, they're just going to be revived. Like, there's no shock. There's a shock value, like I said, with the voicing and it being snuffed out like that. But at the same time, I have that conflict in the idea that I never take death seriously in this world. And even the characters don't. It kind of adds to the reason why they're so comedic all the time, because it's like, oh, well, we'll just revive them in a minute. Hopefully somebody can find them. Yes, there is like fears, like when all of them got stuck inside that little trap, there's like that fear of, well, yeah, if somebody can find us, like there's still that issue there. Or even with Fallen, it's like, well, yeah, but there's also the aspect that she's going to be digested. Can they bring her back? That's always kind of added in there. There is a almost level of them not fearing mortality while they're in the dungeon, which I didn't know until this episode, that yes, technically, apparently, if you leave the dungeon, you're dead. They're like, check for any wounds, because once we leave, you can't be revived. So if you're bleeding out and you walk out into that teleporter and go to the surface and you die, you're dead. So again, I like the fact that it's a mechanic in the world and it's interesting, but at the same time, it also sort of relieves a lot of the impact of characters dying, because I think that's kind of counter to what this episode had. This fight felt so freaking brutal. And again, it was because the animation, just the impact of the hits and the music and the faces and the reactions was just kind of constantly hitting. But yeah, that was just... This fight was incredible. Seeing her come down, it was just so beautiful, and at the same time majestic, and just like bestial at the same time. Like, it hits so many different like artistic values within one shot. It was just very beautiful, and just add in the fact that Fallen herself is beautiful, and they've always portrayed her as beautiful. It kind of all culminated to that moment when the crap hits the fan. Crap hits the fan. She's just wrecking people, picking up the dog guy. He's biting her in the hand, just slams him on the ground. Just the Jin, I think it was, the water ball just shooting at her just crushing that. It was just, every shot in this whole fight was incredible. And again, having Laios in the moment at some point in that fight going, I gotta let her free. And then of course she has to call out. Of course she has to call out. The English had her saying like, please save me, brother, or something like that. And the Japanese was just her calling out his name. But either way, it's the same thing. It's literally appealing to him. Now, that's the interesting question mark, is because what they've kind of presented is that from the perspective of Marcille understanding what she did, they're assuming there is that, yes, when she revived them, those 2 souls came together, and now this mad mage is essentially controlling the other soul, and it's causing her to do that. But I like how it sort of, throughout the fight, showed both sides of her both sides of her personality kind of coming out. One side, you'll see her just like curiosity with the ball, and then the second moment, it's her calling out to Laios. The third moment is her literally wrecking everybody. So it's obviously you're seeing that kind of flip back and forth throughout the entire fight. It was just incredible. And then yes, Laios nearly getting hit, Kaburu's jumping up there, stab, so brutal, dude. It was so brutal. It's just like this constant flip back and forth between comedic and just absolutely just brutal. Like how like vicious a lot of the fighting is. It's just that constant thing this series have always done is just that flip back and forth and back and forth. Absolutely brutal. Fallen is just like this brutal machine. The most gentle and the most loving person ever that everybody adores. I mean, Toshiro is literally coming down here with a team in order to save her, and she's just wrecking things. This gentle flower is wrecking everything. And then, yes, kind of building up to Laios nearly getting taken down. Kaburu comes in there and just starts stabbing the crap out of her, slams him down, and then, yes, having that explosion of energy just rips... Again, throwing in jokes in there, Marcille out of nowhere going, wait, don't do that. She rips off her shirt, get the little oob in there, and then suddenly just completely wrecks everybody with all the spikes. It was just, God, it was so incredible, dude. Just the voicing, the music, the animation. Oh, it was such a fantastic little segment there. But yeah, that all culminates to the second half of this entire episode, which I'm extremely conflicted on because this is where, again, it kind of gets in that comedic route. It just kind of breaks that tension that was kind of built up. There is a side of me that sometimes wishes that this writer just kept full-on serious mode, because I think this would probably be one of the best fantasy series of all time. It is still an incredible fantasy series, don't get me wrong. It's just a lot of the comedic bits and the food stuff is what I just don't really care for. Now, the comedic bits do hit. When they do hit, they work really well. But there's a side of me that almost wishes that it would kind of tone it down and let it kind of set in the moment. But again, I think that's really because of the world they've created here, which is, again, death isn't always permanent, and it's not permanent within this dungeon. You could still revive people. So yeah, a lot of people, even though there's bodies everywhere, they're still in that mindset of, well, we'll just get them revived. We'll have to come back for them later. Which, yes, sucks because they're all very question mark about Marcille now, and so they're all like, don't touch them. She's like, it's a basic resurrection spell. Don't do that. Which I think that's the part of this entire episode that really hurts the most, is that nobody trusts Marcille. Well, Laios and them do, but nobody else does. And that's a really cool element of this episode, is that aspect that they see it as black magic. It caused this problem. It made her a monster. They don't want her to make the rest of them into monsters. There's that conflict they're having because they have preconceived notions about what she used, this black magic. Whereas Marcille, she understands it. She knows how it works. She knows that it's not some sort of boogeyman. She learned it, and so that she knows how it works. So she knows what the end result is. It's the people that have preconceived notions and the unknown of what it does versus her understanding what it does and knowing that it wouldn't cause what they think it causes. It is a really cool little thing they're kind of creating in the question mark there. What Marcille's basically saying, and Laios even agrees with her, is that there's obviously some sort of issue with what they defeated, the dragon, and her soul sort of coming together through that process. And now this mad mage is essentially controlling her. So all we have to do, we don't have to do whatever you're doing. We don't have to come down here and purify her and get rid of her and destroy her and put her to rest. We just got to take down the mad mage, which is, yes, pretty much kicking the ball down the court a little bit more. This is like one of my frustrations about this series, is like it keeps showing how great Fallen is, and then they finally find her. They rescue her, and then she's gone again. Like, she's literally, the goalpost just keeps getting moved. Like, this entire series is going to be constantly, which next... it's the princess is in another castle scenario. Oh, she's not here. She's going to be in the next dungeon. She's going to be in the next dungeon. Keep going down there. Which is, yes, frustrating, but at the same time, incredible, because seeing everything from Fallen's perspective has been really fantastic with, everybody falling after her. But it's just, yeah, like, overall... really incredible episode. There's a side of me that loves, but at the same time, it's very painful, is the perspective of Marcille. Because, again, everybody loves Fallen. And Marcille loves Fallen. Wanted to help her. But the problem that she's facing now is, did I cause this? There's obviously building up this inner conflict within her that she did something wrong. But it was the only way that she could do, the only way that she thought that she could do to save Fallen. So I had to use this method. And yes, it may have essentially poisoned her. She's been saved, we're happy, but the method in which I did it, yes, could have caused this whole situation, and now it's causing this big problem. And then, yes, I'm sure eventually it's going to get into, what does Fallen think of this whenever she finally regains her wits? Is she going to be upset the idea that you brought me back, and then I harmed all these people? Again, these people are probably going to get resurrected. There's some of them being left behind because they don't have enough. I do like the fact that they added in the fact that Toshiro is just like, no, whatever you, don't even cast a spell. Do not touch them. I think even Maizuru said the same thing. They're all fearful of her using her black magic, even though she's like, no, I'm just going to use a simple resurrection spell. No, don't do it. Because they're all afraid of her doing to them the same thing they did to Fallen. Again, it's hard. It sucks because I agree with what Toshiro and them are saying. From their perspective, Marcille did something wrong. But again, it is all in preconceived notions of what Marcille did. They're assuming black magic. They're assuming you caused this. They're afraid of what she used. It's the unknown that, again, Marcille understands and fully understands how it works and the mechanisms behind it because she studied it. But everybody else doesn't know that. All they see in front of her is, Fallen screwed up. You screwed her up bad. You made her into a monster. It's really incredible. So, yeah, I just wanted to get on here and just express my love of that episode. It was just an absolutely incredible episode and very curious to see where it goes from here, them chasing after her. And it seems like they've pretty much opened the door to the end game. The end game seems to be at this point with, 7 more episodes or so, 8 more episodes, that they have to go find the Mad Mage and release his sister. Or, I don't like this, kill the sister, purify her, and release her soul, which I hope that's not the end game there, but I'm assuming that this person that they think is the Mad Mage, this elf, I don't think that's the one that's ruling the entire labyrinth. I think Laios suggests that that's the case, but I don't think that's the case. I think this was one person that works under them, because I think even them said that they were wanting Fallen or the dragon to wake up because, you got to get back to work. And they kind of addressed the leader of the dungeon. So I don't think that's the case. So that at least allows it to be just they take down this mini boss and that might free Fallen. And then she can always be at their side and hopefully release this dragon that's within her, this other soul that's in her, and she can be free. So we'll see though. That's my random thoughts and reaction to episode 17 of Dungeon Meshi. I just want to get on here and blab, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what's thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button's got my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content, you want to support the channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, and things, membership down below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does. Y'all take care.